So Ripple filed a motion to the judge today asking for the judge to seal certain information that the SEC is going to be returning back in the form of some answers to interrogatory questions. People want to know, why would Ripple ask the SEC to seal something when it's the SEC's answers that they're actually looking for? Well, I'm going to tell you and explain a little bit about why they're doing it in this video. I'm also going to talk about a coin that was just listed on Coinbase, and it had quite the response when it hit Coinbase. Now, for a while, many times when new tokens would hit Coinbase and be available for the public to purchase, they would see a large increase in value very, very quickly. Well, this is no different. So I'm going to tell you what coin just hit Coinbase, and if anything that the SEC has been recently saying about Coinbase has had any effect on the newer coins. Because from what I've seen, it hasn't. There's also a new social media company out there right now that is based on crypto. And right now it has about 5 million members, and recently the CEO is pledging about 25% of its holdings to crypto assets. I'm going to tell you which crypto assets they actually are and what he said all new startups should be doing with their finances. And speaking of some other people getting in trouble with the law, the CEO of OpenSea, which is one of the largest NFT marketplaces out there, has just resigned amid some allegations of insider trading. So I'm going to tell you what he's actually being accused of. And of course, we have Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market, after just hitting its golden cross, saw a little bit of a run up and seeing a little bit of a plateau, which is quite normal. Now there's a lot of people saying $100,000 is imminent. I'll tell you who said that and what position that he actually holds. Hey everyone, my name is Randy and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. Right now on this channel, we are covering the Ripple versus SEC case, along with other cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if you want to follow along with any of those topics, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the bell notification icon, and of course, if you're feeling generous, I'd greatly appreciate it if you do two things. Number one, smash that thumbs up button. And number two, watch the video all the way to the end. Those are really the two best things you can do to support a YouTube channel like this. So if you do that, I'd really, really appreciate it. All right, so let's jump into it. So I'm going to start off with the executive of OpenSea actually having to resign amid an insider trading scandal. So what he was actually doing, or at least what he's accused of doing, was snatching up cheap NFTs, and then as he knew that OpenSea was actually going to promote these NFTs and put them on their feature page or their homepage, and knowing that they would sell out not only quickly, but for larger amounts of money than what he got them for, he would buy them, and then as they became listed on their platform, they of course would get high bids on them, and he would sell them very quickly for big profits. Well, guess what? As the CEO of a marketplace like that, that's basically insider trading. Knowing that there's going to be something that's promoted, that's featured, and that's going to go up in value, yeah, you can't do that. So Nate Chastain, who is the former CEO of OpenSea, he was actually asked to resign by his co-founder, Devin Finzer. And on other crypto platform news, there's a new startup that's basically a social media platform built around blockchain. And right now they have about 5 million users, and what the CEO just announced is really interesting because he just pledged about 25% of its books, of its holdings, into crypto, which basically amounts to about $2.5 million. They got a bunch of venture capital, they're putting some of that into crypto. What they're doing is they're putting some of it into Bitcoin, some of it into Ethereum, and some of it into something called Circle's yielding product. Now, Circle, which is backed by the USDC. Now, he basically said, you know, when Tesla and MicroStrategy buy crypto, it adds a huge amount to the marketplace. And he thinks that if all startups would basically follow in these footsteps and put a little bit of their books into actually buying crypto, that can be a serious trend and can actually change the market. And I would tend to agree with him. Actually, I think it would actually add more stability and help out with overall adoption. And just recently, Mike McGlone, who is the senior commodity strategist at Bloomberg, recently tweeted out that he thinks that Bitcoin is going to go to 100,000 or at least 100,000 this year. He's basically pointing to the trading trends, the market trends, as well as the declining supply that is available for purchase on exchanges. He basically tweeted out some of the charts. He said that $100,000 is likely doable. And it's interesting that he is actually a commodity strategist because a lot of people feel that cryptocurrencies trade much more like commodities than anything else. And when you're talking about supply and demand like he does, it makes a lot of sense. And now Coinbase just recently listed a new coin as actually a security token known as Zen, or Horizon as the company that created it. And basically what Zen is, it's basically a security token that its primary focus is on keeping transactions as secure as possible. And it's interesting because they do that two ways. They actually have a proof of work mechanism which actually secures the entire network, pretty much like Bitcoin, and it also distributes the tokens. And then they have side chains that are actually proof of stake. This is the layer that all of their transactions reside on. So it's interesting how they actually use both in combination with each other to help keep things secure yet speedy and cheap. So they were listed on Coinbase, and almost instantly the value of the token shot up by 22%. Now overall they're still down about 40% from their all-time highs, but when they got listed on Coinbase, it had the Coinbase bump. There's a lot of people that look at the Coinbase effect. When a coin is listed on Coinbase, because Coinbase has such a big audience that it can reach almost instantly, this has tended to happen with pretty much any token that they've added in the past. This one's no different. In fact, Barry Silbert, who is the CEO of the digital currency group that actually owns CoinDesk, recently tweeted out that he personally owns Zen, and Digital Currency Group actually has a significant stake in Zen. So it's one of those tokens that might be a good idea to put it on your radar. This is what a lot of people are pointing to, that when XRP finally gets relisted back on Coinbase, XRP could be the only coin that actually has the double Coinbase effect, meaning they had it the first time they got listed on Coinbase, and they could potentially get it a second time. In fact, my opinion is I believe the second time XRP gets listed, that price bump will be even greater, because it probably means that this case with the SEC is over. And speaking of this case versus the SEC, a new document was filed by Ripple to Judge Netburn and the SEC, basically asking the SEC to seal their answers for some new interrogatories that the SEC is supposed to turn over. Well, a lot of people are asking, why would Ripple do that? Like, we're supposed to be making all this transparent. Everybody in the public should be able to see what the SEC is doing with these answers. Well, here is most likely why Ripple wants some of those answers sealed. They actually filed a motion not to seal every single one, but actually just specific documents. Why? Well, because earlier, Ripple had to answer a series of interrogatories as well, where they had to answer some things. In that, the SEC is using Ripple's answers to answer some of the questions that they will be submitting back to the judge and back to Ripple. Well, they're going to be doing that, and they're going to be using things like vendor information, specific business process information, specific business practices, and things that Ripple just doesn't want the public to see. And that makes a lot of sense. Most likely the judge and the SEC will probably comply, but that's why Ripple is actually asking the SEC to seal some of their answers, because most likely there is some specific business information that is listed about Ripple and its products that they don't want getting out. Because specifically what they want sealed is how the Howey test was applied to XRP transactions over the past 8 years. So the SEC has to answer that question, and probably what they're doing is using specific information of Ripple's and specific partners, vendors, and business practices of Ripple to explain their decision. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense and clarifies some things, because it seems to me that what I've been reading, that's pretty much the case. But then again, nothing in this Ripple versus the SEC case is clear at all. In fact, nothing with the SEC is clear at all regarding crypto. And if you've been following me on Twitter, I've been retweeting a lot of what has been going on with Gary Gensler's answers to the United States Banking Committee, which he did the other day, some of his videos that have been resurfacing, and a business correspondent on Fox Business News that is now jumping on this SEC versus Ripple case and asking some more questions. So if you want to follow along, I'll put the link in the description below for my Twitter account. You can follow some of those people there. There's a lot of incredible information that I tweet about that I don't always get to cover on these videos, so make sure you go and follow me there. Also, if you haven't already, hit the community tab. I put out polls up there pretty much on a weekly, sometimes daily basis. Just want to know what the late night grind community is thinking about all this. So once again, thanks for watching this video all the way to the end and for giving it a big thumbs up. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.